In ancient times, before the great flood destroyed the world, something terrifying walked the earth. They were called the Nephilim, giants so massive, so powerful, that the Bible itself says there were giants in the earth in those days. But that single verse hides a horrifying truth. These weren't just tall humans. According to ancient texts that were banned from the Bible, the Nephilim were hybrid creatures, half angel, half human, and they nearly destroyed all of humanity. They consumed everything. They taught forbidden knowledge, and when food ran out, ancient manuscripts say they began to devour human flesh. Today, you're going to discover what the Bible doesn't tell you about the Nephilim. The creatures so dangerous that God himself decided to wipe the entire world clean with a flood. Let's start with what we know for certain. Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, is one of the most mysterious passages in the entire Bible. It says, "When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose." The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. That's it. Just 4 verses about beings that were so significant. God destroyed the entire world because of them. Who were these sons of God? What does Nephilim even mean? The Hebrew word Nephilim comes from the root naphal, which means to fall. So Nephilim literally translates to the fallen ones. But fallen from where, and why does the Bible give us so little information about creatures important enough to trigger the apocalypse? The reason the Bible is so vague is because the full story was removed. Multiple ancient texts, including the Book of Enoch, the Book of Giants found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Book of Jubilees, tell the complete, terrifying narrative. According to these forbidden manuscripts, 200 angels called Watchers descended to earth at Mount Hermon around 3000 BC. Their leaders had names: Semjaza, Azazel, Arachiel, Ramiel, and others. These weren't demons yet, they were angels with a mission to watch over humanity. But they rebelled. They saw human women and desired them. The Book of Enoch says they made a pact, swearing an oath to all go through with their plan together, because they knew what they were about to do was forbidden. They descended to Mount Hermon, took human wives, and the women became pregnant. But these weren't normal pregnancies. The offspring that resulted were abominations, hybrids that grew to enormous size and possessed supernatural strength. So how big were the Nephilim? The Book of Enoch describes them as giants whose height was 3,000 cubits. Though this is clearly hyperbolic, it emphasizes that these beings were monstrous beyond comprehension. Ancient Jewish texts suggest they ranged from 10 to 30 feet tall, towering over normal humans. But their size wasn't the only thing that made them terrifying. The Nephilim possessed superhuman strength, accelerated growth, and, according to some accounts, supernatural abilities inherited from their angelic fathers. The Book of Giants, discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, contains actual names of individual Nephilim: Ohia and Hahia, sons of the fallen angel Shemihaza. These texts describe how the Nephilim began to oppress humanity. They consumed all the food humans produced, crops, livestock, everything. And when agriculture couldn't sustain their appetites anymore, the ancient texts say something truly horrific happened. They turned to cannibalism, devouring not just animals, but humans themselves. But physical destruction wasn't the only way the Nephilim corrupted humanity. The fallen angels who fathered them taught humans forbidden knowledge that we were never meant to possess. The Book of Enoch gives us a detailed list. Azazel taught humans how to make weapons of war: swords, knives, shields, and armor. Before this, humans lived relatively peacefully. Now they had the tools for organized warfare and mass violence. Semjaza taught enchantments and root cutting, which many scholars interpret as sorcery and dark magic. Armaros taught the resolving of enchantments. Barakel taught astrology. Kokabiel taught the knowledge of constellations. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun. And perhaps, most disturbingly, Other fallen angels taught humans about cosmetics, jewelry, and seduction, introducing vanity and lust on a scale never seen before. This wasn't just information. This was the corruption of human innocence, skills and knowledge that would lead to violence, deception, and spiritual degradation. And the Nephilim, as children of these fallen angels, embodied this corruption physically. By this point, the earth had become completely corrupted. Genesis 6:5 says, "The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time." But it wasn't just human wickedness. It was genetic and spiritual contamination. The Nephilim weren't part of God's design. They were hybrids, abominations that shouldn't exist. Their very existence threatened the purity of the human bloodline, through which, according to Christian theology, the Messiah would eventually come. The Book of Enoch describes how the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, came before God to report what was happening on earth. God's response was decisive and terrifying. He would send a flood to cleanse the entire planet. But before that, he commanded the archangels to bind the fallen angels in darkness until the day of judgment. Azazel was cast into the desert, buried under sharp rocks. The other watchers were imprisoned in valleys of fire and shadow. And then came the rain. For 40 days and 40 nights, water covered the entire earth, drowning the Nephilim and wiping out nearly all of humanity, except for Noah and his family, whose bloodline was still pure. Here's where the story gets truly disturbing. The flood was supposed to eliminate the Nephilim forever, but the Bible itself suggests they returned. Numbers 13:33, written after the flood, describes Israelite spies entering the Promised Land and encountering giants. "We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." How is this possible? If all the Nephilim drowned in the flood, how did they come back? Some scholars suggest that fallen angels repeated their sin after the flood, creating a second generation of Nephilim. Others point to Genesis 6:4, which says the Nephilim were on earth and also afterward, implying they existed both before and after the flood. There's another, more disturbing theory found in the Book of Enoch. When the Nephilim died in the flood, their physical bodies perished, but their spirits, being half angelic, couldn't die normally. These disembodied spirits became demons, wandering the earth, seeking to possess and corrupt humanity. This, according to ancient Jewish tradition, is the origin of demons that Jesus would later cast out during his ministry. So is there any evidence that giants once walked the earth? Throughout history, cultures worldwide have reported finding massive skeletal remains. In the 1800s, newspapers across America published dozens of accounts of giant skeletons being discovered, some reportedly 7, 9, even 12 feet tall. The Smithsonian Institution has been accused of collecting and hiding these remains, though they deny it. Ancient structures around the world continue to baffle archaeologists. The megalithic stones of Baalbek in Lebanon, some weighing over 1,000 tons, moved with technology that shouldn't have existed. The precision-cut stones of Puma Punku in Bolivia. The massive walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, with stones so perfectly fitted that not even a blade can slide between them. Could the Nephilim, with their supernatural strength, have built these impossible structures? And what about the global flood myths? Over 200 cultures around the world have legends of a great flood that destroyed a previous civilization. The Epic of Gilgamesh, written in ancient Mesopotamia, tells of a flood sent by the gods. Hindu texts describe the Matsya avatar saving humanity from a deluge. Greek mythology speaks of Deucalion's flood. Are these all memories of the same event? The flood that destroyed the Nephilim. The Nephilim were erased from most biblical translations, reduced to a footnote, a single mysterious verse. But the ancient texts that were banned from the Bible tell a much fuller, much darker story. They were hybrid creatures, born from the union of fallen angels and human women. They grew to massive size, possessed supernatural power, and nearly destroyed humanity through violence, corruption, and forbidden knowledge. God sent a flood to wipe them from the earth. But according to ancient manuscripts, their spirits may still walk among us as demons, and their physical descendants may have returned after the flood. Archaeological mysteries around the world hint that beings of enormous strength once shaped our ancient past, and flood legends spanning every continent suggest that something cataclysmic really did happen thousands of years ago. The question is, what else did the Church remove from the Bible? What other truths are hidden in banned books and forbidden texts? In the next video, we're diving into the Gospel of Judas, the ancient manuscript that completely reverses everything you thought you knew about Jesus' betrayer. Was Judas actually the hero of the crucifixion story? Subscribe so you don't miss it, and leave a comment. Do you believe giants once walked the earth? I'll see you in the next revelation.